Alrighty guys, today I'm going to be showing you my 5-step checklist that I use when I'm looking at buying a potential business. As of the making of this video, I have purchased 2 businesses, I have traded one of my businesses for another business, and there was 2 other businesses that I potentially would have bought but ended up not buying. Getting right into it, the first thing that I look at is the market. Is it in my market? Is it a business that has to do with lawn care landscaping? Or is it a business that's adjacent to that market that would make sense for me to do it? At my point, I am trying to focus 100% on lawn care landscaping. So anything to do with anything else, I am not interested in. And at the end of this video, guys, I'll actually show you how I was able to buy these businesses, and how they actually came along and I had the opportunity to decide or make an offer on a business. So anyways, the next thing that I'm going to look at is their finances. What are you bringing in a year or by the month? The next one being, I kind of want to look into job specific pricing. So what are you charging per mow? What are you charging per plow? What are you charging per mulch installation? Depending on the business, just job specific pricing. That way I can compare it to my own pricing in my head and know if they're in the same ballpark in charging the prices that they should be. This isn't an immediate disqualifier if they aren't charging the prices that they should be, but it is something definitely to note. Once I get these prices, I also want to know, I want to see the actual prices. I need to see them on paper. I'll also ask them, if they don't have job specific pricing, I'll ask them what they make per hour. For instance, one of the businesses that we ended up not buying, the guy told me that they made $100 per hour. Yeah, I asked to see some numbers. He had a notebook or a calendar, and he would write down what he made that month in the calendar. And taking a look at that, he was telling me he was making $100 an hour per man, and then he showed me what he was making per month. And then I went ahead and asked him, how often are you working? Is it just you? It ended up being him and one other guy, and they worked a total of 8 hours a week, 2 4-hour days. And I I just pulled out my phone while I was talking to him and just put in the numbers. And it turns out he was making $80 an hour for both of them. So it was $40 an hour per man. Really, I shoot for $75 an hour to cover my overhead. And obviously that's the number that I need to be at, $75 an hour. So that was a red flag right off the bat. Either he didn't know his numbers or he was just lying. Those are 2 not good signs, because now I can't trust you. Now I'm really going to have to look into this. See the actual numbers. You can ask them what they make, but you really want to see it to actually know. One thing that I forgot to mention that I want to add is you want to see the accounts receivable. So if they're telling you that they're making, say they're charging $75 an hour, or they're making $100 an hour per man, you want to actually see the accounts receivable and see that the money's actually ending up in the bank. They're sending them an invoice, and the invoice is actually being paid, because they might be charging the right amount, but is the money actually ending up in the bank account? That's pretty important. So I just want to quickly add that back to what I was saying. And the other thing is the value of the equipment. This same guy had a mower, a trailer, and a bunch of other equipment, which he was actually selling at a really good price, but he wanted way too much for the customers. And that brings us to our next part, is the customers. What do they look like? What's their age? If they are all 80 years old, the lifetime value of that customer is not great. I don't know if that's like maybe a morbid thing to say, but it's true. If all of their clients are 20-year-olds, wow, you're going to have a long lifetime value of those clients. That one guy is actually a very good case study, because I looked at his portfolio of clients, and the other evaluation is location. Are they grouped together? Which he did have a lot of people grouped together. There was like a bunch of properties in one area that he mowed, but it was owned by one guy, which wasn't good, because you also have to look at, of their total income, how many sources is that coming from? And his was like 80% was from one guy, and he was 80 years old. And I was like, okay, well, once this, I hope this guy lives a long, healthy life, but he's 80 years old and he makes up 80% of his portfolio, like his income. That's red flags big time. You also want to look at loyalty. His loyalty was great. He has been mowing for this customer and his other customers for like 15 years. So that's awesome. You know that they have a really strong connection. And if he transfers it over to me, there's a pretty good likelihood that they're going to stay, hopefully, more so than if they were short term customers with somebody else. The fact that he wasn't charging enough wasn't as big of a deal. The fact that he was lying about it or didn't know the numbers was alarming. But the fact that it was low wasn't as big of a deal because you can always increase the prices. The fact that he was charging $40 an hour and I'm going to go up to $75, the fact that I'm going to double it, that's not good. That's obviously the greater you're going to increase the price, the more risk there is that they're going to leave. Next point is value add. So can I add value to this business and make it better? One of the things I want to look at, I mentioned location. Does he have a lot of clients already in the same location that I'm at? So maybe he's only charging $40 an hour, but they're right next door. There's 5 of them and they're right next door to places I already mow. I don't even have to, I'm using mowing because it's the best example, but maybe I don't even have to reset up my trailer. So that would work in that instance. Is there better systems that I can implement to make things more efficient and potentially save some money that way? Another instance was one guy that we were looking at buying his business. The other one that I didn't buy, he had low prices, but he also had poor systems. He had way too many people working, and they weren't doing enough work. He had like 4 guys out mowing, and we do 2-man crews. So immediately I was like, okay, well, even though his prices are low, we can cut that crew down to 2 guys and probably make it profitable. So in certain situations, you have to kind of look at everything and see, especially with this step, if you can add value in ways. So their price might be low, but that's not an eliminating factor. I'm not going to cut it off completely if their prices are low. They might just need better systems. I mean, so many systems that you can add, just having, maybe if you do automated customer follow-ups, or there's a ton of different things. I could probably make a whole video just on systems, but that is one big aspect to look at. The next thing is marketing and upselling customers. If he already has a big base of customers, maybe he doesn't offer hedge trimming or mulching or any landscaping services. So you might get those mowing customers for not a super great price. Maybe it's a little bit lower than what you want, but you can raise their prices and you can also offer them other services. Now you have their information, you've built trust with them because now you're mowing with them. That person, if they have a strong loyalty, they've been with them 15 years, they introduce you to them, you shake their hand. One of the businesses that we did buy, I went around with, he was a younger guy. He had a really strong customer base, really good prices. And we went around and he actually introduced me to the people that wanted to meet me. And I got to shake their hand. And that was a really good introduction. And, now having that connection, I had the potential to upsell them on other services. I might be willing to pay a little bit of a higher price because I know I can have some potential for some more income through other services. Just customer service in general. Maybe they weren't really great at communicating. They didn't have somebody in the office. Having a clear line of communication with them can instantly provide value, and that might make up for your price increase. Once I've evaluated all of these things, I ask myself, can I acquire these customers or equipment for less? And how long would it take me to do that? So going back to the same example that I've been using the most, right now it is fall, we're going into winter, and he's selling mowing equipment and mowing clients. If he was selling it in the spring, I'd be more willing to pay a higher price because I can immediately start making money on it. With this, I'm sitting on it all winter. They have time to look for somebody else. Now I have a payment for the clients and I have a payment for the equipment, and I'm not generating money. If I can get a good deal on it because it's poor timing, then okay, maybe it's worth it. For this instance, I could wait till the spring. I could get a brand new mower, which his mower was pretty new, but I could get a brand new mower with 0% financing, instantly start making money, have cash flow coming in that's paying for that. For the other thing is the amount of customers. So if I wait till spring, I can do a bunch of marketing, and the amount of money I'd pay for those customers, if I put it into marketing, I might even be able to get more customers and get them at the prices that I want to get them at. If it's a large amount of customers, if I try and go out and market and get those customers, like say it's someone selling the business with 500 clients, that might take me a couple years to get 500 clients. So if I can pay that price now and get those clients, I just skipped a couple years of work. That makes sense. So that's really the final question that I ask myself is, can I acquire this for a lower price, and how long is it going to take me to do that? And that's when I'll come to my final answer. Oftentimes I'll come up with a price and then give them that price, because there is a price for everything. For this one guy, the same example again, I ended up telling him, I just called him, and before I explained all the things I just explained to you, I said, hey, I can buy this business for $15,000. He was asking 30, literally 50% of what he was asking for. So I said, I can explain to you why I have to buy it for that price, but before I waste my time and your time telling you all the reasons, this is my price. And then he didn't take that price. He had actually told me he had other people interested. Before I end this video, I'll tell you guys how I got these 4 businesses. The one was the mowing business that I just told you about. He also did like handyman stuff, but I don't do that. The other one, the business that I ended up trading for, was the same business that we didn't buy. He had a bunch of mowing customers and plowing customers, but he was very underpriced. He had a ton of labor. And at the time, labor right now is very hard to find. He had like 5 guys. So he had too many guys doing the work. So we knew we could do it with less guys, but it was still more guys than we had, or I felt that we were comfortable taking on and trying to get. I didn't want to take on all those customers and then have to support a unprofitable payroll just to complete the jobs, which is where he was. If I knew I was able to bring in qualified employees to perform those jobs and I could raise the price and cut down on the amount of people we had, I would probably have done it. So those were the 2 ones that I said no to. I did end up trading with him plowing for my garbage route, which I made a video about. If you want to watch that, I'll link it here. The other 2 businesses that I did buy, the one that the younger gentleman actually introduced me to, the people, I purchased his client list. There was no equipment. It was just a client list. And I purchased that for $4,000. He had mowing customers, people he trimmed hedges for, and he had clients that he plows for. And that made sense. The other business, which was probably my worst purchase, and it was my first business purchase, was a garbage route, which I ended up trading. I bought that for $22,000. That came with a 2021 trailer, dump trailer, like 100 garbage bins, a list of, I think, 100 or a little bit over 100 garbage customers, and then like a few other things like bags and stuff like that. I definitely overpaid for that, but at the time I only had like 40 customers, so it was so many customers that I was willing to pay that price with the equipment as well. So, and how I got those businesses was literally all just by happenstance. It was just, I got a call for one of them. He was asking if I wanted to buy his trailer. I said, no, I don't need a trailer, but are you selling your garbage business? Because I knew he was in garbage, and the only reason he'd be selling his trailer is if he's getting out. He said yes. Another guy made an offer, but was only buying a certain amount of his customers, which in hindsight, he was probably right in doing that. But I was like, hey, I'll buy all of them. So that's what I did. And then, like I said, I made a video about this, but I traded my garbage business with the other gentleman. That was through my dad. He actually used to work for my dad a while ago. So that was through word of mouth. There's a gentleman that we have a contract for through mowing. He was the one who introduced me to the younger gentleman that I bought for $4,000. The other guy was also through my dad, the one that I kept referencing. He knew my dad. I don't know if he worked with him at the prison or somehow my dad knew him. So a lot of it was through my dad, who's been around. He's been in the business. And I really got all of my deals from word of mouth and knowing people. I would really like to get out there more and find other ways to get businesses. But I would say the best way is being network, talking to local businesses in your area that are in the same market as you. It really doesn't hurt to talk to these other guys. And the ones that have been in business a while usually are pretty helpful. The guys that are just starting out, I've noticed, are usually scared that everyone's going to take their business. As you grow and get more business, you realize there's so much business out there. And if you just do a good job, you're going to get clients. Put yourself out there, network with other business owners, and eventually a deal will come up if you talk to them enough and they are potentially getting out of it or thinking about selling. You'll know about it, and then you can offer them a price. I know there's like websites online. Maybe I'm in a pretty small area, so maybe if you're in a bigger area, you can look at people listing them online. But usually, I would say in those cases, it's similar to real estate, where if it hits the MLS, they're asking a very high price. If you can get in and network and know them and talk to them before it hits anything, before they actually like put it out like listed, that's when you're going to actually get a good price for it, I would say. That's been my experience. I guess I can't really speak too much on advertising or listing or going out and buying businesses. It's all just been word of mouth and networking. So I would definitely advise is get out there and network and talk to other business owners. And eventually, if they are thinking about selling, they will sell. So those are my 5 steps for evaluating and purchasing businesses. And I hope that helps you guys. If there's any other videos that you want to watch, comment below, and I'd be more than happy to share with you everything that I know. But that is it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you next time.